Hi, this is Vera again, and this is video 7 of the series Google Forms and Sheets for Beginners. In this little video, I just want to go over some tips for creating items. I've demonstrated all the items, but there are a few more things that are helpful to know, and so I'm going to focus on those things in this video. Okay, I'm back in the editing mode for the form that I demonstrated with, and a couple of these things I'm going to repeat, but they're worth repeating. And the first one is that it is always a good idea to think ahead and to include some items to begin with your form, with some items that will help identify the respondents in the way that you're going to want to sort them on your spreadsheet. So if you're a teacher, for example, you might want to be sure that you have their last name, and then you might also want to add a class block option. If you do add a class block option, consider any way that students might foul it up and do it in a drop-down list or multiple choice so that they have to choose one of the options, because if you leave it as a text option, inevitably some will use numbers, some will use letters, and it won't sort correctly. So always think ahead, make your first couple of questions items you want to sort by, and if there are predetermined answers, you're better to use a multiple choice or choose from a list so that students don't get creative and mess up your sorting option on your spreadsheet. Okay, the next thing is I want to point out again these editing tools, which are very convenient. And the first one, of course, right now this is not open for editing. If I want to open one of these for editing, I just click this. Okay, and that opens it up for editing. When I am through editing, I click Done. And if it is a required question, then I click here. Do note that if you require questions, students do not fill them in, or your respondents don't fill them in, their form will not submit. And if they raise their hand and say it won't submit, have them go back and look for areas that are outlined in red. Okay, another thing to remember is this duplicate feature can be used to really make your life easier. Instead of recreating questions, you can duplicate and edit those questions. So I'm going to demonstrate the class option question by duplicating this. And although I want to use a different question type, that's an easy fix. I can just go here and I can do check boxes or multiple choice or choose from a list, but I'm going to do choose from a list because it is a time savings, and I'm going to change this to class block. And then I'm going to just choose your class as the text. And it's going to be choose from a list, and I'm going to have block 1, block 2, and if you hit tab twice, it will bring you into your next block for typing a little more quickly. And I'm going to put block 4, and I'm going to pretend that's all I have, and I'm going to say done. Okay, now when my student goes in, they're going to only have one of those 4 choices, and then it's going to match up appropriately when I try to sort by class block rather than getting them out of order. Okay, the next thing I want to mention is, as some of these questions, when I edit them, you see something here that you may not be seeing on your screen, which is called advanced settings. This is coming. It was a recent update, and some domains don't get the updates as quickly as others, which is one of the reasons I use my personal account so I know what's coming. But this will be an option that will be available very soon to everybody, and it just allows you to shuffle your shuffle the answer choices. And it works for multiple choice, check boxes, choose from a list, and grid. And so that will come soon. When you see that advanced setting box, and you can start using that. Another thing I want to point out, repeat, is the add other option. If you click add other, it puts up an extra choice and allows your respondents to type an answer in there that maybe does not match with any of the choices that are given. And finally, the last thing I'm going to mention is the go to page based on answer. And this is something I'll deal with extensively in the amateur sessions that come up next. But you can, whenever that choice is selected, you can click it, and then notice that all of the choices then will get another option here. And you have to create the other pages first, but if you have other pages created, that are specific to students or people who answer certain questions, you can then select those. And as you see, I only have 2 pages. But you can choose to go to the next page, go to a certain page, or to submit form based on what they answer. And that is a great feature. It takes a little time to set up, but it's perfect for creating tutorials, setting up your quiz or your assignment so that students are targeting certain needs that they have. I have also seen people create the choose your own adventure stories using this. I've used it myself to set up schedule where the options depend on what students are involved in, like students that are in band or chorus have separate options from those that are not. And so if they choose band or chorus, it takes them to the page for their options, or if not, takes them to the page for the other options. So there are lots of possibilities with that choice, and it's a good feature to know about if you want to take time to learn to use it. And the final thing I'm going to demonstrate is just that these items can be rearranged any way you want to, just by simply dragging and dropping. So if I want to move this image, I can just simply drag it and move it up wherever I want it. I'm going to put it back where it was because that's how I'm using it. But just so that you know that that can be done, any of your items on your test can be rearranged any way you want them by dragging and dropping. So if you forget an item and you realize later on, you can go ahead and add it and then just drag it in where you want it. So those are my final tips for creating for the item choices.